Well, hello everybody. It's your boy Birdman. Just wanted to make a new sort of video, which is something I want to start doing, is basically doing commentaries over my racing videos, qualifying sessions, fast laps, entire races, things like that. So you can hear my thoughts on the races firsthand and little things that I point out, and just like me being able to show particular moments that I thought were potentially impressive or particularly enjoyable for me. So without further ado, I just wanted to get into the race that we had at Shasta Speedway, which was my first super modified win and my third ever big block super modified race. So little bit of a janky setup, but we're gonna get through it. And yeah, I just got pulled up my computer here. I'm going to rewind to the beginning of the race, and I'll also show you guys the aftermath footage that I got after the race too, which I thought is kind of cool. So starting the race here. So in this situation, we were starting 8th after having qualified fast time or pole position. Drew the 8 pill, which meant that the entire field gets inverted by the top 8 guys get inverted. So now I'm starting on the outside of the 4th row, starting 8th place for the race. So not the ideal situation, but I knew we had a good car. I knew we had a strong car, and I knew we were capable. So the goal was just to get after it, see what we could do, see if we could take advantage of things at the start of a race. The start of a race is typically the most important part of the race. That's where you can make up a lot of positions, especially if there's not a lot of cautions. So, and everyone starts too wide, everything's bunched up. So let's see what happens here. So you can see I already have a pretty good start, and I'm already alongside. You can see the car that was on the inside of me in the very beginning is just not even a factor right now. I'm now focusing on beating the car on the inside of me, and also trying to watch out for the guy on the right hand side. The beginning of this race I'm going to be going over a bit because I think it's interesting, and it's the coolest part of the race, I would say, from my perspective. So definitely very intense and adrenaline filled. But yeah, so you can see I kind of accelerate a bit. I'm trying to take up some space. I can see the guy, the number 7 car, is up high on the outside, and he seemed to be struggling a little bit for grip. I was like, oh, maybe I can, like, if my car can do it, I'm gonna see if I can fill in the gap. So I'm in between 2 cars, the car that I was originally ahead of before, because I was sort of backed up a little bit from having to be the sandwich in the middle of the corner, and I was able to out accelerate the number 7 car on the outside, and also to some degree out accelerate the guy on the inside. So now I'm able to position myself to the inside of the track, or at least try to. Oh wow, yeah, the 7H got a really good run. I don't even know what I'm talking about. 7H went pretty deep into the corner, and my goal was to just run the outside. So now I'm not even worried about the 7 car, the black 7. I'm not even worried about him at all, and he's not really a factor right now, and I'm just focused on. I felt confident, like the guys were telling me before the race, hey, if we're going to be racing, we're probably going to be passing on the inside, because that's where most people were making their passes during practice and that sort of stuff. And I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I feel like I could pass around the outside if the car's good enough. If the car can do it, why can't I pass around the outside? So here, this was my focus, was seeing if I can hold whatever positions I could. I already knew I'm up like a position, so I know I know the car's competitive, and I'm not just getting walked away from like I was in the race at Las Vegas in the open wheel showdown. And I just had no idea what the car was capable of. This was my second time driving a top wing big block super modified, so there's a lot of variables that I wasn't quite sure of. But the pole position and fast time and qualifying definitely gave me a bit more confidence in the car and myself, and gave me somewhat of an idea of how everyone else was going to stack up. So now I'm going around the outside. You can see the 7H got bottled up by the pink car, and he was probably going to have a pretty good run if he was able to get by the pink car, but the pink car was just low enough to dissuade him from sticking his nose in. So he gets bottled up, which gives me the opportunity to keep on rolling around the outside. And for some reason, I don't know what happened here, but I knew there was nobody on my outside. But for some reason, I thought he was going to come up into me, the guy on my inside, the 7H. I thought he was going to come up into me, which is why I kind of bailed out of the throttle, because if I was going to get hit, I'd rather get hit at a lower speed or try to avoid him or give him enough space to sort of cross through. I wasn't exactly sure what was going to go on. So I kind of had a little bit of a hesitation, but ultimately you'll see why that didn't really matter in the end. But that could have been potentially costly to the my ability to fight for that position. So I just open up the corner. That's my goal. Open up the corner. I can see he's trying to pass the pink car on the inside. And like in my mind, I'm like, well, I mean, if you want to pass on the inside, great. But if my car can go around the outside and you're willing to slow down like this, like obviously my car was able to roll some speed around the outside, so I was able to take advantage of him being so focused on passing on the inside that he slowed down way more than he should have, and I was able to take advantage of that big major slowdown, the pink car being a little bit slower, which makes sense because he was a car that qualified slower than both of us. And yeah, I was able to just 2 for 1 around the outside. That was probably the best moment of the entire race. And yeah, it was really fun. And I didn't expect to get that position so quickly right there, but I saw a caution comes out right after this. That blue car, I was told, just had a mechanical issue, stopped on the end on the back straight, and like that was him having a mechanical issue and falling off to the side. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm the greatest race car driver ever. I just passed 2 cars on the outside and I got another pass. And like, no, it was just the car was not. The guy was having some troubles. So, but it was nice to get another pass right after that. Restart here. So I'm already kind of looking for, like, as I had the outside passes earlier, I was kind of looking to see if maybe an outside pass, just like a really confident, like bold move would pay off in like the first corner. Like maybe my car is just that much better that I can just pass everyone around the outside. That wasn't necessarily the case, so he was able to hold his position, and I couldn't quite get the car turned the way that I wanted to in order to maintain that speed around the outside. And you can see here I'm turning in, I'm going in later, I'm turning in later, trying to run that, like just optimize that outside line. And it just wasn't working because the inside did have more grip, and in comparison to the outside. So he was also running a shorter line around the track. So unless my car is much faster, it's gonna be harder to make that work around the outside. And you can see I'm getting challenged by the guy on my inside as well, which was interesting. And I knew at that point, okay, I needed to start defending my inside because that guy's starting to challenge me. I can't just be so presumptuous that I'm just gonna be so much faster than all these guys around me, and there's not gonna be anyone challenging me from behind. That's just presumptuous, and that's why I made kind of on the inside to sort of defend. I knew I had good acceleration on the straights. I went to make a move on the inside to dissuade anyone from trying to pass me on the inside, and I was like, I'm a little late on the brakes. Hopefully I slowed down fast enough to avoid getting hit by this car. So I barely slowed down in order for him to mesh in with his later turn. And the second I see that guy start getting squirrely, and trying to make passes on the inside when he wasn't quite there, but he was close. He was pretty close. He was probably close to getting the pass completed if he really committed to it, but that's something that his car needs to be capable of doing. The second I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm just going to start to ride and focus on going with this guy who seems to be pretty determined to pass the guy in front of him. So I was like, okay, whatever this guy does, if he passes the next guy, I'm just going to be there. I'm just going to focus on being there and making the pass alongside him. That way we could just both move up a position. Still kind of defending my inside line. I think I got touched right there. The reason why I had that big correction, I got touched in my rear. And I thought it was because I touched the car in front of me. I thought I hit the car in front of me in the moment. But upon review, it was actually the car behind me that must have touched me. He must have just rolled a bit more speed and didn't expect me to be as slow in the middle of the corner. And then a caution came out immediately after that. So I was like, my first thought was, wait, did someone just like hit me in from behind and that was like a caution behind me? But then I saw pretty quickly that it was the car inside of turns 1 and 2. The black 7 car that we passed earlier. Just trying to play cool here. So he went for a very strong move on that guy. I don't know what caused that blue and white car to be so far up and so like just slow down before the entry of the corner, but he was, and I thought I was clear. Like I thought, because of how slow he was on the inside on the entry of turn 3, I was like, oh, I'm definitely in the clear. I can just track all the way out. Bada bing, bada boom. No, I couldn't, because he was right there around my outside, and I had to I have to race this guy for a corner because yeah, he's actually kind of fast. But I quickly out-accelerated him on the straightaway and focused on just hitting my marks in the middle of the corner, and then from that point on, that blue and white car wasn't a factor. But for a second there, I thought he was going to be a factor. Like, oh wow, he's rolling the outside. This guy's a beast. And a big thing for me at this point in the race is I'm already in 3rd. That's a really good position for me for my second ever super modified race, professional short track race. I'm like, if I can hold this to the end, finish on the podium, that'll be great. Pretty good race in my books. But at this point, I'm sort of waiting to see what this car in front of me does, because he's pretty ambitious, and he's trying really hard. And I'm sort of just saving my tires, saving my car, like not trying to go terribly hard. And that was sort of my goal at this stage in the race, was just because of 2 cautions that already come out. I'm like, I don't know how many cautions are going to come out, and I don't want to use up all my tires and all my equipment getting a big lead or trying too hard or racing for position when it's all just going to get rebunched up. So I was just sort of playing it cool, playing it safe, and just letting the race come to me and see what happens. And you can see how bad the glare is exiting turn 2 from the sun, and it gets even worse when my front windshield gets just covered with oil. It gets even worse. And this is the GoPro's perspective, so there's another layer of visor in front of my eyes to where I can't even, like, it's multiple layers plus glaring in the sun. So like at some point during the middle of the race, like the last 25 laps, I really just can't even see the apex of turns 1 and 2. I just have to sort of go off of general visual markers and my understanding of the track and my positioning and that sort of stuff. Basically muscle memory. You can see these 2 cars in front of me. They have a lot of like angle, like they have a lot of angle, slip angle in their tires as they're exiting turn 2 or turn 4. And you can see me in contrast. I'm really just trying to like slow down, get the car turned in the middle of the corner, and then open up my hands and let the car straighten out as I get on the power, which is less wear on the right rear tire, for example, the right front tire. Really the tires in general, the less slip angle I'm asking of the car, and the more the car can just accelerate and do what it wants to do, which is go fast in a straight line. So there's a little bit of a difference in my philosophy at this point because of potentially how strong my car is. My car can just do what they're doing and maybe also save tires and save grip in the long run of the race. And another caution comes out. I wasn't sure why. Oh yeah, it's the car in the back straight. So like at this point, I'm pretty happy with my decision to save my tires because it's another caution came out. If I just wasted tires for 6-7 laps in a row trying to battle the car in front of me and like be super desperate for the position, like there's literally at this point in this on this restart, there's 33 laps left in the race, and I heard that over the receiver in my earbuds, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I have so much time, like, I'm good to go. I'm just gonna chill, I'm just gonna roll and just do what my guys told me to do, my team, and it paid off. One thing I'm just going to point out to you guys that you may or may not have noticed at this point is my steering wheel and the fact that when I'm on the straightaway, my hands are like this, or rather, maybe for you guys it's like this, but my hands aren't straight. They're not straight. They're a little bit turned, which is what I felt was the most comfortable position for me, because if I can go from being turned on the straightaway and still having a good amount of control over the car, when I turn into the corner, I only have to turn like this instead of being straight and then turning all the way to like 90 degrees. That's a lot more steering. I'd rather have a car that's like this so I can catch it in the middle of the corner rather than like this, and then I have less control over the steering wheel. So that's the reason why my hands aren't straight. It's because I intentionally didn't want my steering wheel straight. I was actually debating in my mind in the beginning of the race, going around the track, just doing the pace laps, that I didn't know if I wanted to have it just barely not straight or if I wanted it like this much not straight, because if it's just this much, then it's going to take this much turn to get maximum steering angle in the middle of the corner when I get to the apex. But if I have it this much, then it's only going to get, I only need to be here, and ultimately it's less visual steering angle, or at least it's more leverage for my hands. I'm going to try not to do too many cuts of this video. Hopefully this is interesting for you guys, because it's interesting to me, but I'm the one driving the car, so that makes sense. You can see I'm not, like, my hands are like this in the middle of the corner, or like this, whatever perspective my camera's showing you. So not that big of a, not too much steering wheel, versus if I just had it straight, it would be like this, and I'm having it correct like this, and my hands all the way down here, and it's just, you don't have as much leverage on the steering wheel when it's like that. I'm not even getting the 100% throttle. I don't think I got to 100% throttle at any point during this race or qualifying. Qualifying I probably could have, maybe, but definitely not during practice or the race. I definitely didn't go 100% throttle. It's just there's so much power, you don't need it. The track's short enough. I'm sure if I was racing Copper Classic at Phoenix, we'd be 100% throttle, but that's not the situation here, and obviously I didn't need it. you can see as well, I set my GoPro's settings to having hyper smooth off, which is hyper smooth is just a GoPro setting that gets rid of all the jostling and shaking of the GoPro that it experiences. It just basically smooths it all out. Like the footage comes out smooth as butter. But I turned it off, to help the GoPro last long enough and not overheat. But also because I wanted you guys to see how violent, like some of these tracks are, especially road courses. But like Shasta, for example, in turns 1 and 2, 3-4 is way smoother, but 1 and 2, like all through the apex of the middle 1 and 2, it's just like that, and it's just you can see it shake the camera so much, and it also reduces the grip artificially in terms of track characteristics. 3 and 4 has a higher cornering capacity because it's not as bumpy. Because if it's bumpy, your tires are getting deloaded and you're losing grip as a result. You can see my front windshield getting splattered with oil as well at this point. From the first place car at this point, not the second place car. You can see the second place car is trying to dime it off the corner and really make a move to be on the inside, getting the power down on the exit of 4, so that he can hopefully be far enough along so that he can get on the inside of the other car in turn 1. You can see that the first place car, he just makes his car so wide, he doesn't even track out all the way to the wall like maybe I would. He just kind of stays in the middle of the track and sort of starts creeping over early into turn 1, which really dissuades someone who's trying to make a pass on you on the inside, or really the outside. Like if you make your car wide, it's just hard to pass you anywhere. And if you can do that for 40 laps in a row, like congratulations, you won the race. So that was a key moment in the race, and I'll rewind on that because you can see this car in front of me, the second place car, he's getting very, like, not really desperate, but he's getting desperate to make the pass. He's like, he wants to get in front of the first place car very badly, and he's willing to do almost anything to do it. And in this situation, he really gets on the throttle a little too hard. You can see he throttles up too much at this point. Right now his car's like this, and it has too much slip angle in it, which is he's either at risk of correcting in the opposite direction of the steering wheel, and then the car snapping and heading into the wall, or if he doesn't do that, he can potentially, with how much slip angle and how much he's losing the right rear, he can potentially just completely spin out and into the inside of the track. But he did the best possible thing, which was, sometimes you can do this, sometimes you can't, depending on the situation. He did the best possible thing, which was he just corrected a little bit, like he opened up his hands a little bit, but not too much to where the car would just bite and then just fly off into the wall. He corrected just enough to keep the car going straight, but as a natural result, his car was straightening out, but drifting over to the inside of the track, and as a result, he's coming out of the throttle, which means he's not going to be fast on the straightaway, which is where I come in and make the pass around the outside. So you can see he goes all the way to the inside of the track. He's all the way to the inside of the track because that's how much track he had to use in order to avoid spinning out or hooking back into the wall. He used all the track to get to the inside, and then I was like, is this guy going to come back into me? Like, I wasn't sure if he was going this way and then just like back into me, but it wasn't. That wasn't the case. But I was like kind of throttling up a little bit longer, like to make sure, and trying to be wider as well to hopefully, if he was coming back across, I wouldn't get like hit or tagged in the left rear and then I get spun out, crash, all that stuff. I was like, for a moment there, that was very, very concerning for my race. I was very concerned about that particular moment, but I knew I just had to take advantage of the mistake that had happened, and luckily he didn't hit me. I don't even think he was close to hitting me from what he told me after the race. And now we have the final guy. I'm in second place. First place is right there in front of me, spewing oil on my windshield, and yeah, now the goal is to pass him, and obviously pass him, and with as little effort as possible, so that I can, while preserving my tires as much as possible, so that I can just hopefully, if anyone else, because at this point in the race, I don't know if there's anyone that's coming up really fast from behind me, and I think at this point there's 8 cars left in the race because a few cars already dropped out at this point. But I'm not sure if anyone, if like fast guys that are qualified P2, P3, P4 that I passed early on, maybe out of luck, maybe whatever. I don't know if they're coming up fast and they're just charging and they're like head full of steam trying to go to the front. And so I have to play the long game and like obviously fight for this position in first place, but also to not wear out my tires too much. And you can see just how much visibility I have in the middle of turns 1 and 2 when the sun glare is right there in front of my eyes. It's not too much. It's not too much. But everyone else is dealing with the same issue. And also my goal is to analyze. I don't know if my mic's picking up too much of if it's overwhelming the sound of the video. But my goal is to analyze what this guy's doing and develop a game plan of how I want to potentially pass him if an opportunity arises, which eventually it does. You can see his strategy of sort of being in the middle of the track and not really dissuading anyone trying to do a big dive bomb pass on the inside. Some people do that as a natural reaction of knowing that they overslowed or messed up the previous corner or the other side of the track. If he feels like he messed up his turn 4 exit, he's going to drift over to the middle of the track, make his car wide, and then that makes it hard for me to take advantage of him being slow on the exit of turn 4 by either dive bombing to the inside or the outside or whatever. But as a result, if you just turn in too early and truncate your entry, you're going to slow down your minimum speed in the middle of the corner or create more slip angle in your tires and therefore tire wear in order to achieve the same minimum speed as I am. And you're basically asking more of the car than if you just did a nice smooth arcing corner like I'm trying to do. Nice late turn ins, making the track, the radius of the corner as wide as possible so you can roll as high of a minimum speed as possible. So at this point I realized, okay, he didn't get the power down very well at all on the exit of 4. Like it seemed like he struggled getting the power down exiting 4, and I know I'm taking it easy. I'm like treating my tires nice. And if he's struggling getting the power down and I'm going easy, this might be a little something for me to eventually make a pass. So now I'm kind of looking, experimenting, seeing, but ultimately just waiting. See, he's wide in the corner. If I can take advantage of him being wide in 3-4, that might be a good opportunity for me. But I have to be close enough to him. I have to be there. I have to be able to get the power down as much as him. And these are all things I'm not entirely 100% sure that I am able to do. But I'm noticing that he's consistently doing that in 3 and 4. So you saw there, he beat me on the entry, but it caused him to overdrive the middle of the corner, and therefore he's out wide on the exit, kind of struggling to get the car turned and like trying to get the power down, and he still has turn left to do, which means he can't get the power down as much, and it's all shaping up to be a Nathan Bird pass. Go past the lap car on the inside. You see him go wide again. He's really not getting a strong exit out of turn 4. I'm really just focusing on turning in late, opening up my corner, and focusing on having as straight of a car as possible for the exit, which is the exact opposite as the guy in front of me. So that was my first moment of, I wonder how much I can get the power down, because he's slacking a little bit in like his car's ability to get the power down. So I'm like, I wonder what I can do. And I was like, okay, I'm getting the power down stronger than him, and I was matching him on the straightaway. So there might be something here, but obviously the opportunity wasn't there. I wasn't going to dive bomb him, and there wasn't an opportunity there, which in retrospect means I probably shouldn't have done that in the first place. But that little experiment, and me obviously not getting freight trained by 5 cars as a result of my mistake potentially, ended up giving me the ability to figure out what the next step was in terms of trying to pass this guy. There was my opportunity right there, and I think I probably maybe could have done the lap before, but I really just had a lot of confidence getting the power down right there. You can see I'm not terribly close to him on the entry, but my goal wasn't to be fast on the entry. My full goal was to be fast mid-corner exit. So you can see he had a little bit of a wiggle in the middle of the corner as he was trying to get the car slowed down and turned. And now that I saw that, that lets me know that he actually was going to struggle significantly getting the power down and turned. And so it makes sense why I was able to roll so much speed and close the gap. Right here is I'm just rolling on like 10% throttle, and I already closed the gap to being almost tire to tire with him, and now it's just a matter of who has the better car to get the power down. You can see I'm kind of fighting the right rear of my car, like getting the power down a little bit, but I have a lot of power, and I was able to get the power down very hard, very aggressively, in a way to just like by the time we're actually having to get to the entry, I've just dominated the end side of the corner. He has really nowhere to go, and based off of the performance of him in the last few laps, like I know there's no chance of him passing me around holding the outside against me, but there's always a chance, and of course I'm watching for that, but it just didn't happen. That's pretty much the entire race right there, because nobody ever challenged me for position again. I eventually ended up stretching my lead to almost half a lap over the next cars, and that was with me doing my best to essentially tire save. And if a caution came out, I didn't want to be lapped up to 4th place, and then a caution comes out, and then 1st, 2nd, 3rd are still behind me, and I've used up all my tires. And what did I do that for? That wasn't very smart. So the rest of the race is just me. As soon as I get clean air, I was actually able to get a few more fast laps in. I'll show a couple of them to you guys. You can also watch the full video that I've already posted on the YouTube channel. But I have some clean air. At this point, I want to get a little bit of a gap. Like I want to run a little bit harder than I know I've ran before, but not so hard to where I'm going to potentially make a mistake or allow any opportunity for other guys to get past me, crash the car, whatever. There's just no reason for me to go absolutely 10/10 when I passed that guy fairly easily, and the next cars behind me weren't challenging me in the process. So given all those factors, I've realized it was probably a good idea to save the car. And one of the main things you can see, one way you can tell how hard I'm driving the car and how much I'm asking of the car is the G-force meter that I have at the bottom left of the screen. The mile per hour will catch up in probably a couple minutes once it starts registering again from the GoPro. But the G-force data, if you can see how hard I'm asking the car to turn and corner, which is at this point 2 Gs, but it can go up to almost 2.9 Gs in qualifying, which it probably could have been 3 or 3.1 or 3.2 Gs if I actually exploited all what the car was capable of with the new tires. Traffic, but they were told in drivers' meeting to just stay down to the inside of the track, which they did, and I was able to fairly easily roll around them. So if you're watching race monitor or any sort of timing, lap-to-lap timing, you can probably see that I'm running. Now you can see the minimum speed as well, but you can see that I was running faster lap times at this point. Not that clean air versus tell that I cornered a bit more, push the entry a bit more right there. Can't see anything in the middle of the corner. Just trust that you're not going to hit the wall on the exit. So that's how much my hands are turned on the straightaway. You can see how much my hands were turned in the middle of the corner. About right there. So really not asking for that much steering in terms of visually, but if you account for the fact that my hands aren't straight on a straightaway, it makes sense why I'm able to get maximum turning in the car. Yeah, so I passed a few lap cars on my way to the victory, and if you want to watch the actual race, all the laps, you can go to the video that I've already posted of the entire win with no commentary and no annoying Birdman stuff. I'll just show you my last lap. I don't think it's that one. I think it's this one. Or me taking the checker flag at least. Checker flag with the waving white and red flag, which I've never seen before, but it was a pretty cool moment to be able to take the checker flag, and the white flag came out almost unexpectedly. I wasn't expecting the white flag to come out when it did, just because I was in the flow, but I was hoping that it would come out soon. I just didn't know it was going to be as soon as it was, and I was like, oh wow, just one more lap until I win the race. That's pretty crazy, but I'm just gonna make sure I don't make any major mistakes. I'm just gonna do the same thing I did all the laps before. So I'm now going to transfer us to my post-race footage, which you guys will have a little bit of a sneak peek on that. I might just upload all of it to YouTube, but at the very least I'm just going to show you guys right here as well, just for the whole commentary breakdown, all that stuff. You can see this is my raw GoPro footage that I haven't edited or anything like that, so you can just see me. I'm just going to fast forward to the moment where I stop the car and get out. Also want you guys to go over here my post-race interview, because that's what we're going to be looking at. Oh, that's my first short track win right there. That's my first short track win right there. All over the world in all kinds of cars. That guy was very nice. He said I race all over the world in all kinds of cars. All kinds of cars is true. All over the world is not true. It's more all over the US, but I'm not going to correct them. getting out of the car. Riveting footage, I know. I'm going to rewind it a little bit for you guys. Nathan Bird. Right to the crowd. Trevor from Arizona, which is true. First super modified win.
I gotta take this off first because I can't hear anything with my helmet on.
We'll go around the front here for the fans too.
You can see I cheekily position my GoPro and my helmet really, turning around so I can look at the interview. Thinking ahead, guys, thinking ahead. And yeah, so we're gonna watch the interview, and yeah, and right there I just wave to the fans. Hey, wave, thumbs ups, first place thingies. Yeah, that was an awesome moment.
For a burnout, but this thing, it looks like it got hot there at the end. Nathan Bird, welcome to Victory Lane at Shasta and the Tony Fernandez Memorial for the Speed Tour Super Modifieds. What does this mean to get this win?
It means a lot to me. First of all, I gotta thank God for the awesome opportunity to be able to race cars for a living. My awesome team and crew, Kim Bridgezone, Shasta Hotels, Hope River GMS, Clean Core Solutions Super Modified.
You can see I'm looking over at the at the wing so I can look at my sponsors to make sure I don't miss any.
Really fast. Race felt pretty easy the entire way. It was really awesome trying to get around those guys at the start of the race, and that was really fun. Gotta thank all the fans for coming out and supporting us and watching the race. It was really enjoyable, and I was a little concerned at the end if I was potentially running out of fuel. I think we might have been leaning out a little bit, like you said. But
yeah, and that was an interesting thing in the last 3 or so laps of the race. I was a little concerned because the engine seemed to be doing something. Like it just seemed like something was starving a little bit or not getting quite as much full power or something. And then we eventually realized we were running very, very low on fuel, and probably due to the multiple caution laps that we had. And yeah, if I was even more of a point and shoot driver or a point and shoot driver in the first place, I might have used up even more throttle and therefore gas, and therefore potentially have ran out of gas before we finished the race. So I'm glad I drove the car in a way that maximized rolling speed, and therefore and not being full throttle as much on the end of the straightaway as well.
Yeah, the car was awesome, and we were qualified pole in about the top 8. We'll have a work cut out for us, but overall we did an awesome job, and can't take this thing up.
So we were wondering, when you were in traffic there, and you had all those cars around you, all those wings blowing air on you, can you compare the feeling in traffic to how it felt once you got away from them and got the clean?
Yeah, it was definitely a difference between having like 6 or 7 cars in front of you versus only 2 cars in front of you. But there's still even a big difference between having 1 car and having no car. So the clean air definitely made a big difference. And I just hunted, tried watching to see if the other guys were going to make mistakes, and took the opportunities where I could, and ended up on top.
We have a lot of great racing families. This family has supported Indianapolis for decades. How about it for Nathan Bird? And our trophy girls, tell me your names.
Yeah, so that was a pretty cool moment, and my first professional short track interview as well. And I don't think I did terrible, but it could have been better. But yeah, I'll just scrub through this a little bit because we just took some pictures. There's my dad standing on the left-hand side, waiting for the pictures to be done. And we had our little father-son romance. That was sweet.
Tell me about that battle trying to hold
It means a lot to both of us to get short track wins, because that's my family's roots, is short track racing, especially midgets. And yeah, we've had a lot of history as a family, including my grandpa running short track cars on pavement especially. So getting a super modified win on a short track is definitely a little bit more special than a Formula car win of some kind at a road course in a non-professional series, for example. So, or a a lower level professional series, if you want to call it that way. But yeah, so definitely a cool moment, and happy to be able to share that with my dad. Pictures, 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 and then yeah, just more pictures. Talking to the crew chief, Jim. He called himself he's calling himself the Ricky Bobby crew because these guys are awesome. But yeah, they're my Ricky Bobby crew, and that's that's all I got to say about that. And yeah, Jim Burgess, car owner, all the crew guys. Yeah, it was really cool. Really cool. Got pictures with everyone. And yeah, big crew picture. Boom, boom, boom. And take the big trophy. Take the big trophy home. I think that's getting shipped to me. Oh, here's the little ending part.
I'm gonna have someone take this. Yeah, for a short track win, woo!
Just throw it all inside the helmet.
For anyone that didn't understand what I said, because I'm dumb, I said, yeah, first short track win, woo! Like that.
Okay. Did you turn it off, or are you gonna keep it running?
I'll turn it off. Super modified at Shasta, July 27, 2024, first short track.
2024 shut up.
Let's go.
Alright, and that's the end of that video. So yeah, I just want to show you guys the aftermath, full like racing breakdown commentary of all the little interesting moments that I thought at least were interesting, and just give you guys some idea of what's going on in my head when we're as a race car driver. And like some of it's in the moment, I'm not thinking all these things actively, but they're all kind of subconscious thoughts that kind of rise to the surface. And a lot of these thoughts were conscious thoughts that I had after the fact, and I was like, oh wait, that guy hit me from the behind, and it wasn't me hitting the car in front of me. Like little moments like that I thought you guys might enjoy, so appreciate it if you guys leave a thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, it's been your boy Birdman. We'll talk soon. I'll get you some more videos from Silver Crown at Jennerstown. So see you then. Birdman out.